In this slidecast, we're going to look at the first of those elements of a contract, offer and acceptance. This is one of the big ones for engineering contracts. This is where we make mistakes most often. So offer. An offer is one party saying they will do something for a set compensation. I will build you a house for $250,000. It must affect the legal relationship being formed. So if we're talking of establishing a legal relationship for building a road, then me telling you that I'll build a house for $250,000 is not relevant to the relationship being formed. The legal relationship we're dealing with here is the road. Okay. In words or conduct, really in words is the most important thing for us in engineering. There are some cases where someone starts doing something and it could be regarded that a contract's happened. So in other words, if you said to your mate, I'd like you to sweep my driveway for $500, and then he just comes along and starts sweeping your driveway, his conduct would indicate that he has agreed to your contract. Okay, so the payment is $500. He can't go back to you and say, I swept your driveway like you asked me to and now I want $1,000. No, the contract is that you will sweep my driveway for $500. Okay, can be revoked before acceptance. So if you say I'm going to build, if I said I'm going to build you a house for $250,000, and you say, oh, I'm not too sure about it, and I say, oh well, I'm revoking my acceptance, forget about it. And then you say, oh no, I'll agree to that, that's fine. You can't do that because I've already taken the offer away. I've taken it off the table. Acceptance is the other party agrees to the offer. So one party makes an offer, the other party accepts that offer. That acceptance has to be unqualified, absolute unqualified. In other words, you say, yes, I agree to you paying you $250,000 for you to build me the house. Okay, full stop, that's it. If you said, yeah, I agree to paying you $250,000 to build the house, provided I can get finance, that is a condition. So what you've done is you have made a counter offer. You have not accepted their acceptance, their offer. You have made a counter offer. Okay. So you need to be very clear. Unconditional acceptance needs to be very clearly you're accepting the offer without any conditions whatsoever. So let's look at what is actually being offered. You should recognize this. Remember, this is the tendering process. It comes after the design. And the idea of the tendering process is that we identify a suitable contractor to do the construction for something, and then we establish a contract with him. So this whole process here is all about those two things: finding out who you want to hire to do the work, and then establishing a contract with him. And they both happen together at the same time. So the offer is the tender submission. So the offer is actually the tender submission by the contractor. So the contractor says, I will build you your road for $1 million or whatever it is. He also says in his tender submission, I'll be using Fred to do the road sealing. I will be getting my materials from this quarry. I will be doing it in this period of time, and I'll be doing it for this amount of money. Those things are all part of his offer. So he's not just offering to do it for a certain amount of money, he's offering to use whatever resources he said he will use in his submission. He's using the methodology that he said he will use in his submission. So it's more than just the money, it's also the way it's going to be done, the people that are going to be used, and all those sort of things. Those are all things that are part of his offer. And the acceptance, once you've gone through, so at this stage you'll have 3 or 4 submissions, 3 or 4 offers on the table from 3 or 4 different tenderers, and then you look at them all and you say which one of these is best. So we go through that tender assessment process. Principal makes a decision, then he says I want to accept this one. So there's 3, 4 on the table. You say I want to accept this one, and so then he writes a tender acceptance letter, or normally he actually asks the engineer to write him a tender acceptance letter on his behalf saying, we accept your offer, we accept your tender submission of $1 million to build the road as per the contract documents. Full stop. Okay, no conditions attached whatsoever, we've accepted it. So that's what the tender acceptance letter does. Now the contractual relationship is formed when the contractor receives that letter. Okay, no, nothing's been signed, you haven't met or anything like that. The minute the contractor receives that letter, a contractual relationship has been formed. It's very important that you understand that. So what is being offered? The tender, and what is being offered is the contractual agreement. What are you agreeing that the contract is? So the first shot at it is done by the client when he puts out the tender document. He says, this is what I want you to build, these are what the conditions of contract are going to be. We'll talk about those later. This is the extent of the works. During the tender period, there'll be more communications, and that agreement may be modified. So the contractor might say, one of the tenderers might say, we propose to use galvanized steel brackets instead of stainless steel brackets, and the engineer says yes, that's okay. That has now changed that original agreement. Also, notice the tenderers also modify that original contractual agreement. And then when the contractor puts in his submission, that becomes part of the contractual agreement. So he's saying, I will do it for this amount of money. So the most important thing is he says the price, how much is the recompense, the compensation for it. He also says what resources he's going to apply to it. He also says that agrees to the timing. He also says about the methodology. All of those things become part of the contractual agreement. And also what will happen, I haven't shown it here, but there may be negotiations between the favoured tenderer and the client in this time period here. So you might say, we don't like this particular tag that you put in your tender submission, and the contractor may agree to withdraw that tag. So that would all be written down, and that would also become part of the contractual agreement. So that all together, plus the negotiations after submissions, those things all together are what is being offered. And then when you write the tender acceptance letter, you reference this, and that is what is being accepted.